live. Welcome to the NBA Live Before Lock Show, Friday, September 25th, Game 5, Celtics-Heat. I'm back with Adam. A show so nice, we're doing it twice, running it back. If you didn't catch Adam and I this morning on the NBA Strategy Show, you're in luck. We're going to do it again right now. Hit the like button as you get in the door. Shout out to No House Advantage for being the presenting sponsor. What's going on, Adam?
How's it going? Been a while since we've talked about this game. Excited to do it again.
Yeah. So many things have changed since this morning, I believe. I don't think that any of these guys called their grandmother to find out what was going wrong, like T.Y. Hilton, but maybe they should. Is there a place that you think that we should start? Because I have one, but if you have a take that you want to get off your chest right out of the gate, feel free.
No PJ Dozier takes today. What do you got?
Okay. Well, at least we won't be recommending a guy that doesn't step foot on the floor. Or at least, we probably will.
I mean, I very well could be. But.
Yeah, we probably will. But it's not PJ Dozier yet. Jayson Tatum on FanDuel is in the MVP spot 63% of the time. Does that seem like way too much to you? Because it seems like way too much to me.
Yeah, just because it's not like this is a game where there's a lack of guys that can outperform Tatum in any one game. Tatum, of course, is going to project the highest, but there's multiple guys on his team that are capable of taking over any one particular game. There's multiple guys on Miami that are capable of having the biggest game. If 2/3 of the field is saying that this one guy out of really probably 5 realistic options is going to be the highest. The highest scorer, then I think you certainly can be looking to get away, especially because it doesn't necessarily mean not having Tatum. Like, you don't need Tatum to have a bad game. You need not to have the best game.
Right. I have no qualms with him being, 80+% owned. That all makes perfect sense. He should have the highest projection of ownership. But 63 of his 89% ownership is in the MVP spot. I think just simply playing Jayson Tatum anywhere else is the correct play on FanDuel today. Not that you shouldn't have any exposure to him at the MVP spot, although it is so high that I will probably not have all that much. I assume I'll be like a third of the field in the MVP spot and make it all up in star and pro and utility, particularly star and pro. That's just way too high of a number to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, Kemba's at 5%. I know this would be ridiculous, but like Dragic is at 2.7. Not that I think that Dragic is even close to him in being the leading scorer, but 63-3, no thank you.
Right. Yeah. Like, it's Tatum's most likely going to beat all of those guys, individually, but his odds of being the highest scorer come down when you compare him to the entire field, obviously. And so if you're playing multiple lineups, you can take advantage of that by just getting over on multiple guys, but also just looking individually and thinking about the odds. Tatum's not a 30-1 favorite to score more fantasy points than Goran Dragic.
Yeah, it's just kind of crazy to me to see stuff like that. Tatum also the chalkiest play as of right now on DraftKings. Also not all that surprising. Most expensive player, 60% owned in the utility spot, 23% in captain. That all seems about right to me. I'll come in a little lighter just because I have him a little bit less than that. However, I understand why it's happening. Do you have any Jayson Tatum takes other than that?
No. Yeah, I mean, he projects as the best scorer on the slate, but definitely a spot to pay attention to ownership.
Speaking of ownership, we had a fairly extended conversation about Tyler Hero's ownership earlier today. Tyler Hero currently 20% owned in the utility spot. What do we do?
I'm getting to him, I think. Like, I'm running my crunches right now. For DraftKings, where'd he go? There he is. For DraftKings, so first of all, I went ahead and gave him 36 minutes. I mean, I don't. It's a little bit more than I've been giving him, but we've seen that's basically what he's averaging for this series now. He's coming off of that monster game. We've seen him close, but like I think either every game or almost every game of the entire postseason. So I went ahead and bumped the minutes up, which was one thing you and I talked about this morning that I felt like I was just projecting him a little bit too low. But right now I have him with that projected ownership basically being owned where he should be as far as a flex on DraftKings goes, but I have him actually being under-owned for the captain spot on DraftKings.
Okay. Yeah, I feel the same way. Like he showed up in my utility spot in my sim 21.6% of the time. Public ownership is at 20, so I don't really have much of a take there. It's comparable at the captain at 3% and 2.6%, so nothing all that nuts. I don't get the sense that I'm going to have a lot just because he's bookended by two different guys. Now, the price tags are a little bit different, but he's bookended by two guys that just show up more. I think it's more likely that I go all the way down to Gordon Hayward or Jay Crowder than I go to Hero. It doesn't feel good given his last game, but I can't just assume that Tyler Hero is incredible now. He's still a rookie.
So here's, I guess, just from kind of looking at my DraftKings stuff right now, a more broad question, and it kind of ties into the Jayson Tatum conversation. But do you think that the actual like stars in this game, you know, Tatum, Butler, Bam, are being overowned in the captain spot on DraftKings? Because looking at my like captain leverage numbers, it's telling me that there's not enough ownership going to the kind of mid-range guys, and there's too much going to the guys at the top.
Yeah, so we have Tatum projected for 23 at the captain. I got him in 16 in my sim. Bam Adebayo projected for 15.7. I have him at 11.4. Butler's pretty neutral, but we have Jalen Brown at 3% in the captain. I have it at 7. Gordon Hayward and Jay Crowder, I think, show up more times in the captain spot than the public is showing as well. So I'm with you. I think that there are more options to pay down at captain to sort of give yourself more quality dudes in the utility spot than vice versa.
Yeah, and to clarify what I was saying, because I know you understood, but I'm not sure if I made it clear. I think that, like if I'm looking at my numbers for how often a player should be in captain, the raw number for guys like Tatum and Bam is the highest.
Yeah.
Or, you know, it's higher than the mid-range guys. But when I compare that to where their projected ownership's coming in, you know, like for me, I have the implied ownership at captain for Jayson Tatum, for example, being at 12%. We have the projected ownership being 23%. Whereas for like Jalen Brown or for Tyler Hero, I have it at 4%. We only have him at 2%.
Yeah.
So there's, even though, you know, the number obviously isn't as high as Tatum, I think more leverage by going to these guys at captain.
Yeah, I think Jalen Brown probably the highest leverage option that I'm seeing from my sim results to where the public is. So I'm hoping to take advantage of that. I should have my crunches done shortly up to, I don't know, we're counting up by 20s on DraftKings, counting at least right around 1,500 done on FanDuel. So got some time yet. Don't have to worry, at least I hope, about any starting lineup changes. I'm sure that'll happen now, but whatever. Doesn't matter. As you've been going through your data, I assume you have a little bit more now. Is there anybody standing out from a utility perspective that you didn't really think you would have earlier that you're looking at now?
So I don't know yet if I'm coming over the field or not, but I do have Tice as being under-owned, which was something I didn't think was going to be the case this morning. It doesn't make me feel very good because, you know, all the reasons we had talked about, that it's entirely possible he loses minutes here because he's just been getting worked and that they go with a different rotation. But we haven't seen Stevens do that. So I still have him in for 27 minutes. And at his salary, that's making him, you know, grade out really well for me. Jay Crowder, Gordon Hayward, both I think are a little too under-owned in the flex spot. And then kind of surprised that Robert Williams isn't projected for more ownership. We only have him at 9% on DraftKings right now in the utility.
Yeah.
You know, I gave him 12 minutes. If he gets 12 minutes, which again, that's a big if that we talked about a lot this morning, but if he gets 12 minutes, I think he should be like, where'd it go? I think he should be like close to 50% owned in utility. So
yeah, if I had Robert Williams at 12 minutes right now, he would be in almost everything I did. Right.
So, you know, the if there is, you know, does he get those minutes again? He did play really well last game. My assumption is that he does, but again, there's a lot of volatility in those minutes. But my point being that if he's only going to get 9% ownership, I'm more than happy to take that risk.
Yeah, we just had two separate people say Robert Williams could be a DNP, though. Williams might not even play. This game is more serious. Think about it. Who cares?
Yeah, one, who cares? Two, So okay, to clarify on that, if he is actually going to be like 10% owned, who cares?
Yes.
If, like the other day, we thought PJ Dozier was going to be 15%, he ended up being 45%, I cared very much as soon as I saw that ownership and said, what did I do?
Yes.
So,
Likewise.
right. So, in the context of if he actually isn't getting a lot of ownership, I don't really care. He's cheap. If he takes a zero, he takes a zero. As far as the game being more serious, one, I don't really know what that means. They were already down 2-1, trying not to go down 3-1. Two, they've been good when he's on the floor. So yeah. I don't, you can look at that last game. There's nothing that your takeaway is going to be like, oh, Robert Williams isn't playing today. Like they need to win. If anything, I think Tice is the one that loses minutes as far as the matchup goes. So it's really just Stevens has multiple options and he's not very predictable. So that's why Williams may not play, but it doesn't have to do with the seriousness of the game.
And if Andre Iguodala is going to be projected for 32% ownership, I'll take my chances on a guy that might not see the floor.
Yeah, I would rather just be taking like every cheap player that is not Andre Iguodala.
Yeah, just give me shares of Grant Williams, give me shares of Kelly Olynyk, give me shares of Brad Wanamaker, Robert Williams, Derek Jones, Kendrick Nunn. I'd rather have every one of those guys before I played Andre Iguodala, given 32% ownership. That is disgustingly high. I mean, I truly, truly don't see it. How many minutes would I have to tell you that Andre Iguodala is playing before you were like, that ownership seems right? 30?
Aggregate production from games 5, 6, and 7.
Right. Like I'm fully out there.
So, and the crazy thing the really crazy thing to me about Iguodala is, one, if he gets 24, 25 minutes, there's certainly no guarantee he puts up any sort of score that you need. Two, why are we acting like there's some guarantee Andre Iguodala is playing a bunch of minutes here? He did last game, and again, I think the most likely outcome is that he does play at least into the mid-20s here, mostly because of the rotation change last game. I think that's relatively likely to be here to stay. But prior to last game, this guy's playing 8 minutes. It's not like there's any sort of guarantee that they run the same rotation. We've seen different rotations from both of these teams throughout the series. So not only are you talking about a guy that if he does get the minutes that we're assuming he most likely gets, probably doesn't do much with those minutes anyway, but also it's not like he's locked into them.
This is going to be a weird one. I'm really anxious to see his ownership once it posts. We're at 8 o'clock right now. I haven't touched on anything else yet, so it's time to say, hit that like button. 620 people in here, 86 likes. Fully uncalled for. That's on me. I gave you guys 15 minutes of a buffer of not having to badger you for the request, but now it's happening. Hit that thumbs up. Helps us out a ton. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. This is the last show of the day. This is the time to put the thumbs on the up button. Now, I do want to talk a little no house advantage. I've got a prop pulled up right now, and that would be for Tyler Hero. 15.5 points. How are you feeling about Tyler Hero today?
I will have an answer in a second. Tyler Hero, 15.5?
Yes.
I have 16.1.
There you go.
So, slight over.
That should tell you all you need to know, which is fade Tyler Hero.
Do you have the over or the under?
I actually don't have my model file opened right now, so I don't know.
Very useful.
I mean, I can give you an answer if you'd like it. It'll likely be more correct than yours.
That is probably true.
I'm glad you know it. All right, let me open my model file and see. It's just a heavy file. I don't like keeping it open now. The Sims have enough. A lot of people shouting out the over, which makes me feel a lot more comfortable about not having Tyler Hero. Shit, 16.8. So I like him more than you do.
Yeah.
With that said, I'm really anxious. His ownership's going to come in at like 45%, and I'm going to be hopefully really happy that I don't have him. Because I assume we'll have like 20%.
So if you're playing 3 max, do you care if you just have Robert Williams in every lineup with the ownership projected how it is right now?
I probably don't think that I would go to all 3.
I feel like
are you asking for a friend right now?
asking for a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like I don't feel good going to all 3, but then the next thing is either Enes Kanter or Kelly Olynyk, and like
I think it's crazy to go all three.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's probably smartest just to go with Cantor in the third one, right? Because one of them probably plays.
I mean,
probably.
I mean, like, it could just as easily be Grant Williams and neither of those other two guys.
Yeah, I know.
Just, you know the drill. Just don't do all three, Robert. What, are you sorting it the same way we used to sort Jaren Jackson lineups?
That's actually not that far off. But.
Okay, yeah. I mean, really, I understand why it's happening, guys. If you,
I mean, really, what I probably should do is just play one with Williams, one with like play my top three lineups that have like different punts, like one Williams, one Cantor, one Olynyk or something.
Honestly, that's probably the best idea because, look, if you're wrong and you have like. Just don't play all three Robert Williams. I don't know what else to say.
Also, I'm just not convinced at all that he's only 9% owned, which is making me think that is another reason I don't want to play all three, because I just feel like it's one of those where it's going to like, I'm going to refresh and ownership's going to, ownership's going to come in and he's going to be like 30%. And I'm just be like, why did I take this weird stand on a guy that might not play?
Oh, God.
Like PJ does.
Do you have any interest in any of the other weird dudes like Nunn, Derek Jones? Do you think Kelly Olynyk plays now? Have you looked into that at all? Is there anything
what is there to look into? I mean,
yeah.
did I buy a Magic 8-ball and start playing around with it? No.
Beat writer quotes, stuff like that.
Yeah. No, I mean, the last beat writer quote I believed was about PJ Dozier. So yeah, it's do I think Kelly Olynyk plays? No. Do I think there's a great enough chance that he plays that he is worth having in showdown lineups, especially if you're playing a lot of them? Yes.
Yeah. Kick's good. I'm a fan, long-time watcher of the shows. Kelly O went 0 for 6 before being benched. He's done. Look, Solomon Hill got in the last game. Anybody can play at any time now. Just full stop. Anybody can play at any time. They played Solomon Hill in a very important playoff game as one of the first guys off the bench. The moment that happened...
Kelly Olynyk went 0 for 6 before being benched when?
I don't know.
It's
not really important.
He played his normal 13-minute rotation in game 3, and then he played 0 minutes in game 4.
Yeah. All bets are off now. Like, KZ Okpala could play for the Heat today, and I wouldn't be shocked. I can't trust anything.
Dust off Haslam.
What?
Dust off Udonis Haslam.
For real. Oh, God. It wouldn't shock me at this point. You never know what Spo's going to do. Whatever Spo does is probably just going to make them go to the finals. I heard something earlier today. I think it was on Zach Lowe's podcast. If it ends up being Lakers Heat, it'll be the first time ever that two teams play for the title that didn't make the playoffs the year before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Which, shouldn't be terribly shocking. You don't get a lot of teams to the finals that missed the playoffs entirely the previous year, but it's kind of crazy. Or, maybe it'll just be Nuggets Celtics when we get two ridiculous comebacks. Also wouldn't be mad about that. All right, so I'm going to flip it over to the FanDuel side for a little bit. I touched on it out of the gate. Jayson Tatum, I think, is wildly overowned in the MVP spot. I think you could just get a more natural build to your lineups by putting him in star or pro or even potentially utility. I do like Jalen Brown in the MVP spot if you're trying to get a little different. Machiavelli says Tyson the captain equals suicide. I mean, it's not a likely scenario, but it showed up in my sim 1% of the time. So I'm saying there's a chance. Best I could do. Let's see. Who else do I think Jalen Brown is going under-owned pretty dramatically on FanDuel. I think Tyler Hero, oddly enough, is going pretty under-owned on FanDuel. If his ownership really is 20%, I think it should be more like double that. And I am coming from the perspective of someone that's not like a huge fan of Tyler Hero and DFS. I think he's going to be good. Calm down, everybody. Just means right now he's young. He'll get better. Gordon Hayward probably a little underowned on FanDuel. Marcus Smart a little underowned. And then Andre Iguodala, the most overowned player on the slate, I think. What are you seeing coming out of your crunches? Or have you not started them yet?
No, they're done. I'm just trying to figure out which lineups to play. As everything stands right now, getting to a ton of Robert Williams. So and then I was kind of just going through because where I'm playing like Cantor or Olynyk, it's giving me I'm getting a lot of Jayson Tatum at captain, which I think makes sense because nobody's rostering Cantor or Olynyk, so why wouldn't I just play Tatum at captain? Also, trying to be careful though, don't really want Bam at captain and then Olynyk, I don't think, because like obviously if Olynyk does get on the floor, his path to playing better is Bam getting, re-aggravating his injury from last game or getting in foul trouble or whatever. So yeah, I mean, right now getting to a lot of them. As far as captains go, where is that in my sheet? Yeah, so as far as captains go on DraftKings, coming in around the field on Tatum, coming in, it looks like over on Bam, which kind of surprises me. About even on Butler, over on Jalen, a little over on Dragic, over on Hero. So yeah, not massive amounts for me of exposure to any one mid-range captain, but am getting overweight on some of these mid-range guys.
I'm always really happy when I run a crunch and refresh my data to look at it, and it works the way that I want it to. So I have Jayson Tatum showing up in the MVP spot from my sim 28% of the time on FanDuel. We have him projected for 63% in the MVP spot. I have him in 83% of my lineups, 0% in the MVP, 54.7% in the star spot. Like, it's just simply taking that biggest spot of this one is wrong to a dramatic effect. He's still great. Let's redistribute. I couldn't be happier with the way that that's looking right now. If he goes for 70 in the MVP spot, kudos. Doesn't mean that I can't still make money, but he's way too owned at 63%. So I love the way that looks right now. That is pretty fun. A lot of Dragic in the captain spot. I like that. Or by captain, I mean MVP. God, I wish they all had the same damn name. Jalen Brown, Kemba Walker. I like it. FanDuel looking pretty good. Oddly enough, 0 shares of Andre Iguodala. I think I'm going to be okay.
Yeah, I mean, I hate my DraftKings right now just because of that one, like the value spot.
Yeah.
But
191 likes. You guys know the drill. We need to get that number over 200 ASAP. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't done it already. I'm going to drop my FanDuel lineups into my upload sheet, and then I'll get to tending to DK. But I am very happy with the way that FanDuel crunch just came out.
Rest in peace, all your FanDuel money today.
Well, I mean, that was going to happen regardless.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had a winning slate where I have the reaction that you just had to what my lineups look like.
Oh no, I don't think that I can ever think of a single day where I was really happy with the way that things came out and it went that way as well. Now that I have 0 Jayson Tatum, he's gonna go for 40, 15, and 15. I've never been more confident in something in my life. No changes to either of the starting lineups. Good to know. All right, FanDuel lineups are in. Where's the DraftKings crunch at? 1840, 1860, 1880, 1882. I'm stopping there. I don't have the patience to watch that crank out another 118 lineups. If I didn't get the goods yet, I'm never going to get the goods.
So I think I'm going to end up with 2 out of 3 Jayson Tatum captain lineups on DraftKings. But again, the reason for that is because one of those lineups has Olynyk and one has Cantor, and there's no reason for me not to have Tatum at captain at that point.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah. The third one, the one with Robert Williams, is Jalen Brown. So I like getting. You and I both talked about we liked getting to him at captain.
Yeah, he's just getting underrepresented, I think. Who do you think wins this game now that we're closer to lock?
Celtics.
Okay. Don't know if anything changed. How do you have 0 Tatum at MVP on FanDuel when prices don't change? Because prices aren't the only piece of the equation. If I thought that if Jayson Tatum was projected to have 0 ownership at the MVP spot, I'd probably have 100. It's all relative, guys. It's all relative. Is this my new crunch? That can't be, right? It doesn't know. Oh, God. I moved so many files around into different folders, and now everything that I have just breaks immediately, and I have to hunt down all the problems. which is really the best way to run a show at 8:12 when lock is in 18 minutes. But what are you going to do? Close and load. Let's see where we're at on DraftKings. I mean, 5% doesn't hurt, right? That's the follow-up to the Tatum question. What's the point? Yeah. Right. There are no half measures here. I believe that he is over-owned by more than double how often I think he's in the MVP spot, which means I want to go the other direction. I don't need to have a trickle of, if it showed up as 5%, it showed up as 5%. I wouldn't care. It's not like I'm taking the choice of 0, but I love the appeal of it. 60-something% is too much, so I just don't want to be there. Let's see where we're ending up. Why am I getting that error? You guys can see it all now. I assume that's an error of someone getting 0% projected ownership in the captain spot. Let's find that bad boy. Ooh. Yep. Where is it at? Who is this? Grant Williams. Grant Williams showing up with very little ability to be in anything good.
Yeah, he didn't get anything from me either, which kind of surprised me.
Yeah. And what's really crazy is I think he's the guy they should be playing.
Yeah, he is. He's 4K on DraftKings, so that's why I was not getting Teddy.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, make him 2K, and I'm playing Grant Williams.
All right, here we go. What do I have on DraftKings now that my crunch is done? 2040. Yeah, there we go. It's gonna be all the Andre Iguodala. I can't wait. Apparently, I never added that to the pivot table, but whatever. 0 Jayson Tatum captain lineups. There's that.
On DraftKings?
Yeah. 0 Bam as well. Let's get it into this table and take a look. Everybody should be able to see it. I miss sharing my screen. My captain ownership. So as of right now, I'm going to hit you with what I have. You let me know what you think. A lot of Jay Crowder at captain. I'm going to walk that. Yeah, I'm going to walk that back a little bit. But no Tatum, no Bam. Dragic.
I mean, those are so Tatum and Bam are my two highest owned captains on DraftKings.
Interesting.
Just not, which kind of surprised me, but I think it's because of Williams and Olynyk and Cantor just not having ownership. I don't think that it ends up really caring that I think they're on their own. So if I were playing 150 max and I went in and tried to clean up, not have 75% Robert Williams, I would lose Bam and Butler. But because I didn't do anything to account for that, because I'm not playing 150 max and I don't really care, it still gives me a lot of Bam and Tatum and captain. But again, that's just because the lineups are already contrarian.
Yeah. Okay. So yours is also working as intended.
Yeah.
Okay. And I completely agree with the way that it's happening. But a lot of Dragic, Kemba, Jalen Brown in the captain spot. I'm pretty happy with that. I do kind of wish that I had more Jayson Tatum. I wonder if I'm filtering out too much chalk, but at the same time, I don't think that there is a such thing as too much chalk in Showdown. How high of a lineup am I cutting out? Not all that high. All right, so let's walk a little bit of Jay Crowder back because, I don't think that Jay Crowder in the captain spot 27% of the time is going to be all that necessary when he is projected for just 8% ownership in that spot. So let's walk that back first and foremost. Anything else popping up to you as you're doing your details? We have about 15 minutes left, so we're going to start taking some questions in a quick sec.
No, I was just trying to play around with it and see what would happen if I cut Robert Williams' projection so that he wasn't in as many lineups. But just because of how I created my lineups, it ended up just screwing everything up. So I don't really have an answer there. But just knowing how my stuff works, I know that Tatum and Bam captain exposures would drop if I cut Robert Williams out. Getting to a good amount of Dragic, I think you mentioned that. at captain.
Yeah. I have 25% right now.
Okay, yeah, I have like 11 on DraftKings, which is third behind Tatum and Bam.
Okay.
Butler around 7, Jalen around 5, Hayward around 6, Crowder at like 7.
I'm pretty happy with all of this right now. Other than wanting a little bit more Tatum or a little bit more Bam, but at the same time, I feel like I'm okay going a different direction right now.
Yeah, in my 3 max, I have 2 Tatum captains and 1 Jalen captain. I already said that. Tatum's in all 3 lineups. Bam is in all 3 lineups. I split it up so it's 1 Williams, 1 Cantor, 1 Olynyk, 2 Tice, 1 Crowder, 2 Hayward, 1 Butler, 1 Dragic.
I have a lot of Gordon Hayward in the utility spot right now.
Yeah,
like a lot.
I did last game too. It wasn't fun.
Yeah, I had like 90%. I'm at least walking it back a little bit. Okay, those numbers look a little bit better. That got me a little bit more Tatum, a little bit more Brown or Bam in the utility spot. Nothing too crazy other than that. I mean, I'm clearly not hoping for a big Jayson Tatum game given my lack of exposure to him in the 2 main spots. So if Tatum does anything big, well, I'm probably not having a great day. Which I can perfectly live with. All right, so let's get these lineups in. Let's start taking some questions if that works for you. What do you think of Butler at MVP?
On FanDuel?
I'm assuming yes, if that was the question.
Okay. So I mean, if I run like my top, I guess if I just run my top 20 lineups there, it's going to give me Tatum. Yeah, like I would say that because we already talked about how much ownership Tatum is getting at MVP. If you run optimals, he's in basically all of them, and any that aren't him aren't Bam. So I do like Butler there because he's the 3rd highest projected player, and he's not Tatum or Bam, who are going to get more ownership.
I agree. All right, DraftKings lineups done, saved, upload. DraftKings lineups in, FanDuel lineups in. You never know when that little robot message is going to pop up and tell me that something's going on. That's the worst thing in the world. Okay, everything is in. Let's get questions. I don't have anything else to look at this point. So, Williams or Wanamaker? I don't know which Williams it is, so that makes it a pretty tough question to answer.
Yeah, assuming it's Robert Williams, then him. Assuming, or if it's Grant Williams, and we're talking DraftKings, then I would say Wanamaker because the only reason you're messing around with any of these guys is for the savings, and Grant Williams is 4K, so he's not really doing the trick there.
I mean, I think Grant Williams is almost unplayable on DraftKings.
Right.
Like, you gotta, I mean, that's just, if it's
4K is like you need Grant Williams to like 1, play, 2, have a pretty decent game.
Yeah, like Duncan Robinson's at 17% ownership, $800 more expensive. I haven't projected for quite a bit more fantasy points. Just play Duncan Robinson. It's not like Duncan Robinson's chalky. Josh, do you have more smart on FanDuel than DK? I have 30% utility to smart on DraftKings. I have 42% on FanDuel. So I have more smart on FanDuel. Cantor or Robert Williams? If only we knew the answer to that question.
Yeah, I mean, I would lean toward Williams, but as I've mentioned during the show, I went ahead and just played one of each in 3 max and would have some of both in 150 max. I think Williams is more likely to play than Cantor. I also think he's going to be drastically higher owned than Cantor.
Yeah. There's no way Cantor's picking up any legitimate ownership today. Not after not playing. Can't. There's just no way. Tice fade, a good play. I would say kind of, depending on the site.
That's a really tough one for me. If you were more expensive, I would say yes, absolutely. The fact that he's the 2nd cheapest real player outside of Duncan Robinson makes it tougher. I have him in 2 out of my 3 on DraftKings. I'm concerned about his minutes just because I think that if Stevens changes up his rotation based on just effectiveness and trying to match up, Tice is the one that loses minutes out of the main guys. So that concerns me. But he's just so inexpensive that, even if I give him 26 or 27 minutes, he's getting into a ton of my lineups.
We got a question that I could actually take a look at. They said, how does Bam, Brown, Walker, Crowder, Hero look on FanDuel? And normally I wouldn't want to do this, but I can look at it so quickly that I'm going to actually load your lineup in. So Bam, Brown, Kemba Walker, Jay Crowder, Tyler Hero. If that lineup were one of the lineups that I generated, which it certainly could be, it would actually make the cut. It wouldn't get sifted out by being too low of an optimal or too low of a fantasy projection. It's not too chalky. It would actually make my cut. It wouldn't make my top 150, though. It ranks as my 356th best lineup. So you built one that would be viable at the very least. I wouldn't be playing it, but it's not bad. And that takes a lot, honestly. A lot of Robert Williams questions coming in. A lot of Brad Wanamaker questions coming in. It's just we don't know. I know that's not helpful, but we don't know.
Trying to think it through, the reason I prefer Williams over Wanamaker, one is that he's the better per minute guy.
Yeah.
You need fewer minutes from Robert Williams to get where you want to go than you need from Wanamaker. For two, I think the path is easier for Robert Williams. There's no real path. There's no real likely path for Wanamaker to get a bunch of minutes. When you were seeing him get a bunch of minutes earlier in the postseason, it was without Hayward. So it was when the Celtics were playing some smaller lineups, they were using Wanamaker sort of in the role that Hayward's in now, where he's like the extra guard / wing. Now that's just Hayward. So even if they play smaller, you're going to be getting Kemba, Brown, Hayward, Tatum, and then one of Robert Williams, Grant Williams, Hayward, whoever I forgot out of the main guys. So anyway, with Hayward being healthy, it's that extra wing that really makes it tough for Wanamaker to get more minutes. Whereas they're gonna play someone at the 5, whether it's Tice for 30-something minutes, whether it's Robert Williams for another 12, whether Cantor comes back, whether Grant Williams gets back in the rotation, someone is getting those minutes. Whereas for Wanamaker really to get mid-teens or 20s in minutes, you have to have an injury, I think.
The thing that I'm most nervous about is if they go to the Celtics death lineup for more time today in an effort to just have their best 5 players out on the floor more often.
Yeah, the one thing that makes me feel a little better is that, and about Robert Williams at least, is they're not looking to play him a lot of minutes for one. So, if their plan is to play that lineup more, you could still get Robert Williams getting 8 minutes or something like that. And two, he played really well. You could also just get Daniel Tice going from 28 or 29 minutes to 24. Williams gets his 10 or whatever, and then the rest is the small lineup. So I agree, there's a lot of different ways this plays out, and that's what you and I've been saying. It's just when you compare Williams to Wanamaker, there's a chance Williams either doesn't play or plays very little. I don't really know how Wanamaker does play more than a little.
I agree with you. It just, the path to additional guard minutes are really hard to find.
It was there before Hayward came back.
Yeah,
but they're just gone.
Yeah, it's just not necessary now. All right, guys, 4 minutes to go until lock. Get your questions in. Get your lineups in. 712 people, 238 likes. One last call for a couple additional likes. And thank you very much to No House Advantage for being the presenting sponsor. Use the promo code Awesemo when signing up. Get yourselves $20 in a free play on your first deposit. And refer a friend. Get another $5 on their deposit. You can't beat it. Bring a friend along. Beat your friend. Take your friend's $5. You can't beat it. That's the best way to do it. If I deposited money, I would refer Adam. I would get an additional $5. He could refer a friend and then play me for that $5, and then I'll take his money. Easy game. News God signing off. It's a long day for you, brother. Get some rest. Go do exactly what I know you're about to do right now and enjoy it. Is it wrong of me to be high on Marcus Smart tonight? I don't think so. Depends on which site, though.
I don't have a lot on DraftKings.
I have a lot on FanDuel.
I have more, or I would have more if I were playing 150. Hayward, Tice, Crowder, Hero. basically everybody.
Yeah, I like Smart on FanDuel. Price is just a little bit better relative to the rest of the field. Smart, one of my highest exposed guys, actually.
I don't have Hero in any of my 3 lineups. That's not going to be fun.
You'd be all right. I'm largely fading Tyler Hero.
He's in... Yeah, I mean, like, if I were playing 150, I'd have him in like a quarter of my lineups, but he just didn't end up in any of the 3 that I played.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. Look, if he goes crazy again, it'll be really, really fun to watch. He's an entertaining player, but I just can't overreact yet.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think he's like a great play, obviously. I think he's fine, and he's low enough owned. But yeah, it's just like I already experienced him having a monster game when I didn't have him once, and it wasn't a lot of fun. So
thank you, AT&T, for giving me the old set 828 text message letting me know that my cell phone bill got paid. Thank you for pushing that through. Why is this guy saying Smart injured and to get him out of lineups banned? Who said it? Let me know, and I will ban that person. I don't know where that is, but I will happily give that person the boot. Anything else? 2 minutes to go. We're kind of going out with a whimper. Here's the question, Brian. Why no Tatum MVP? Leverage, I guess. I mean, look, it all boils down to this. In my simulation, Jayson Tatum is the most likely person to show up, we'll say in the captain spot for right now. Most likely person to do it. However, 84% of the time, I don't think he does it. He's overowned, in my opinion, in that spot. So for me to get rid of the chalkiest lineups that I generate, the most chalky lineups that I generate are going to have Jayson Tatum in the captain spot. When they get sifted out, other stuff rises to the top. So it prioritizes other guys like Jalen Brown, Kemba Walker, Goran Dragic. I'm not going to get anywhere holding hands with 600 other people. Whatever tournament, I don't know if it was yesterday's or 2 days ago. I think it might have been yesterday's. But like first in one of the bigger FanDuel GPPs chopped with like 2,300 people or something stupid. I'm never going to have that lineup, by the way.
Right.
I hope not. If I end up having that particular lineup that can have 2,300 dupes, I probably made a mistake somewhere. Can you leave 17K on the table on FanDuel? That's probably a little bit too much.
Yeah, I think so. Someone tweeted that the biggest winner in like the big DraftKings Showdown tournament last night was like less than $2,000.
Yeah, that's insanity.
Like,
most I left on the table on FanDuel was 4K. I left 4K in one. I left 3,500 in one, and then the next one was 3 lineups with 3K on the table. 39 of my 150 were the full 60K. FanDuel's got that stupid $500 price tiers, which is annoying.
Yeah, DraftKings I left 0, 500, and 100, but I'm also focusing on smaller field tournaments, and their pricing is just different than FanDuel.
And we locked. That's it. Put this slate to bed. We're going to go watch Heat Celtics. I'm going to just sit back and relax. Got some NFL stuff to do for tomorrow. I will be back on Sunday at noon. And potentially Sunday, depending on who wins this game, there will be a Sunday NBA Live Before Lock. But if the Heat win, then there's no game on Sunday. Anyway.
Robert Williams really is 9% owned.
What's Iguodala? What's Hero?
I don't know what that. So I just have my lineups up right now. Williams 9, Cantor 1, Olynyk 2.5. This is in the $150 3 max.
Okay.
Wanamaker 6. Hero is 40%.
That doesn't
9% captain. Whoa, someone played Haslam. Oh man, is Iguodala not chalk? I can't find. Oh, Iguodala is 20%.
Okay. Interested to see what he is in like 150 max.
I will say I would have played Williams all 3 if I actually believed he was going to be 9% on.
Really?
At least 2 out of the 3.
I would have actively talked you out of 3 of 3. You could have talked me into 2 of 3.
Yeah, I probably would have landed on 2 or 3. The thinking just being like, he's 9%, Olynyk is 3%, Cantor's 1%. Am I really like? I think Williams should be higher owned than those guys by a pretty wide margin.
I want to know what hero is in the 150 max. Let me see if I can find that link quickly. You're not in it, right?
I'm in it. I just need to find it. Need to dig through all the freaking best ball drafts.
All right. Well,
do you know what the buy-in was?
20.
Okay, I found it.
You're going to beat me to it because I'm not logged in Opera.
So hero is 12.6% captain, 51% total.
Okay, so let's just stop and talk about that for a second. 12% captain. Is that the third most owned captain behind Tatum and Bam?
It appears that way. Robert Williams is 16% in that tournament, by the way.
Okay. 12% hero in the captain spot is wild.
Yeah, I mean, Butler's at 6. Dragic is at 6. Smart's at 6. Kemba's at 5. So he has to be the third highest owned. Bam's 12. Bam's 12, so hero's actually higher than Bam.
That's insanity.
Yeah.
And you said he was what in the utility spot? 50 and change?
Yeah.
Okay, like I'm happy to not have him then.
Yeah. Tatum 22.8% captain, 80% total.
So to get to Dragic at 38% in the utility spot in my sim, or even in the captain to get to 9%, I have him projected for 51.2 fantasy points. I would have to give Tyler Hero like another 10% or another 10 fantasy points to even come close to those projected numbers. That's just way too high. That is a wild overreaction. That I cannot believe it's north of 50. Is that surprising to you? That doesn't strike me as the type of tournament that like
the captain ownership's even more surprising.
Yeah, I agree. Just if that was the only piece of information I knew heading into this slate, I'd be like, cool, I'll have 0 Tyler Hero. I wouldn't like if I'm you now, I'm not mad at all for not having him.
No,
I'd be thrilled. All right, well, let's get out of here. Guys, hit the like button on your way out the door. Best of luck on this lovely slate. Let's go watch some games. Let's go cheer against Jayson Tatum and Bam Adebayo. Good luck tonight. We're out.